right, today we are on the hunt for some Wave spring washers. I want to basically make anti-flutter kits, or modify them for the back of permobil chairs. I've been making a bunch of phone calls, sent a few emails, and there's a few different ways we can go about this. But right now, I've got one of them with me. I'm going to stop by a supplier that I think might have them, or might be able to order them. So, anyways, let's see what turns up today. I don't know what's up with the weather around here, but yeah, it goes from full sun to hail to rain to full sun with rain and hail. At least they're small hail balls, or whatever you call those. Okay, stop number one complete. Yeah, anyways, they took a look at this and the guy measured it for me just to verify that the plastic calipers we were using on the live stream were anywhere close to being correct. Turns out our measurements were pretty close, but this being stainless and with an inner diameter this big basically doesn't exist. He looked through all of his catalogs and even some other places in town he knows about, and he's like, yeah, the inner diameter is huge. I was assuming this wasn't a bespoke part. Obviously permobil got them from somewhere. Plan B, well, maybe plan C or D would be to buy a bunch of the pre-existing flutter clutch kits and just pull all of these out of the inside. I do have an email in to figure out how much I can get those anti-flutter kits for. I get the feeling they're probably going to be 40-50 bucks, somewhere in there, loosely based on nothing. So that gets real expensive real fast. But anyways, I'm serious about this. We are going to figure this out. There is a way to modify these, and I have spoken to a couple people that have done it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to contact them and find out what parts they used, but we will figure this out. Okay, next place we're stopping here is a thing called Maker's Bolt. Apparently they specialize in black oxide fasteners. Their catalog did show some washers and whatnot. I'm not 100% sure they're going to have Wave washers, but the main reason I'm driving all around and not just calling people on the phone is showing them in person what it is so they can take a look at it. Maybe they can get some ideas, but networking. That's what it is about here. A lot of times when you call on the phone, they just want to get you off the phone and continue on to whatever they were doing. But if you're sitting right there in front of them, sometimes you can get a little more information, be a little bit more helpful. And if it's something they don't sell, they might be able to make a recommendation on a place that does. So since this place actually manufactures bolts and washers here in-house, they might have some info for me. I don't think they're going to sell these, but hopefully we can gather some data. Okay, so this is one of those flex warehouses, and yeah, they don't have a storefront or any way to call them. This is apparently just a manufacturing facility, and they don't have any contact info on their website. I think they just happen to be on Google Maps because somebody added them. So anyways, I got to looking at their website, and they're, that's perfect spacing, I guess. But yeah, they do not do small orders. They have a minimum of $5,000 according to their website, and then some $40,000, I don't know, whatever. So yeah, on to the next place. I'm basically just making my way across town here. There are two locations that I really want to go to, but I'm stopping by a few smaller ones on the way here, or on the way there, just to see, you know, if they have some suggestions or whatnot. I'm pretty sure they won't have what I'm looking for. But next, we're going to McGuire Bearing. I did actually call them, but they said we have very, very few Wave spring washers. But once again, it's all about the networking. So let's see if they have any info for us. This place was purely just Google Maps. Never been here before. So driving around anyways, might as well stop and check. Okay, McGuire Bearing, here we go. All right, so no dice at this place, but they mentioned some random electric supply house that's about 3 blocks from here. I would take my chair, but it's starting to rain, so we'll go up there and see. Once again, it's all about the networking. So I thought this was like an electric supply house. Turns out they deal with electric motors. And what I did not think of searching for is a little spring wavy washer that goes behind the bearings inside an electric motor to keep the preload on the shaft. So I plunked this thing down on the counter in there, and he's like, oh yeah, I think I know exactly what that is. He just wound up giving me the details on what to order. He gave me a little sticky note. So it's something they could technically order, but these guys are a shop that basically rebuilds motors, and their shop rate's like $125 an hour. So he just told me what to look up here. So let's see here. It is a 6201 bearing wave washer. And there we go. That appears to be the droids we're looking for. He said the tolerance on these things are not super close typically. And you know, there is a little bit of wiggle room when they're in an electric motor, but same for this application. We've got between 0.75 and 1.5 millimeters of play in this setup. Okay, I think we're done driving around. I'm probably gonna head back to the warehouse and do some more research, but even the suggested stuff now is showing piles of these 304 stainless washers that appear to be identical. Yeah, so there you go. I had no idea. Like, I never would have thought in a million years to look at electric motor parts. Yeah, but the guys at the bearing shop, they're 2 blocks from here. They're like, oh yeah, go check with them. They know what's up. All right, cool. So it all comes down to what you search for, apparently. Think we're gonna head back to the warehouse, or to the warehouse, and play around with this a little bit more and see if we can get some stuff ordered. I'm super happy. Here we are back at the warehouse. I just did probably about 45 minutes of searching around on Amazon and some other websites. I went ahead and ordered a couple of things. We got basically a 10-pack of the wave washers that were pretty close in size. And then I also ordered a kit that was carbon steel. Now, carbon steel may not be 100% what we want to use. Stainless would be better, but the stainless ones I got, they were a little bit thinner. Anyways, the idea is I'm ordering a bunch of stuff and I'm going to try them out. They won't be here till Friday though, unfortunately. But yeah. So we talked about this at the end of a live stream last Thursday. It was kind of buried deep in the end. But I think what I'll do is show you guys right now what those look like and basically what I'm even talking about here. Okay, this is a 2018 Permobil M3, and the castor flutter clutches are right down in here. They look something like this. You'll see a big silver surface in here and a bolt that goes through the middle. There are a few other styles of this on slightly older chairs that'll have a black plastic cap, and some of the really old ones will have just a big flat disc in here with O-rings, but they won't have this little ridge or step up here on the edge. Now I've already pulled out the one on this side, but I want to take this one out and leave it intact to show what it actually looks like. And if I recall, yeah, so this tire is just basically going to spin. So I'm going to get my foot right here. Got my foot against the wheel here. Probably not the best way to do this, but well, just got a 3/8 drive Allen wrench on here, and we're just going to bust this loose. Now, to get this out, you don't really have to pick up the chair off the ground. It's best not to run the chair around with these pieces missing, but you don't need to worry about pulling out the caster or anything like that. Okay, we're gonna have to do this the correct way. The way I, moving stuff out of the way. The way I pulled this out of here in the live stream is not what you want to do. So So we're just going to stick the jack under here and do this properly. There we go. Now all you got to do is reach through here carefully and push this piece out. And there we go. We have a bearing clutch assembly. Let's take this up to a flat surface and have a look. Now this chair has about 1,500 miles on it. Whoops, trying to escape. But this is the clutch mechanism that they use. We basically have a stack of 12 wave washers in here. And this thing is press fit or friction fit together. And there's a little O-ring that kind of stabilizes the whole thing inside there. But if you look close, you can see here that there are two separate metal pieces. And basically this inner collar right here is pressed onto this middle shaft. And that's what allows all of the compressing here to happen. I think you might be able to see, if I squeeze that a little bit, how it moves and presses these against the washers there. But after a bunch of use and a few years and whatnot, sometimes things in here will get a little bit looser, and this has some grease in there. When they install these initially, they usually put a tiny bit of grease on the O-ring, and that winds up working its way down through here. And as you can see, this turns very easily with almost no force. Now granted, the bolt going through here, clamping this whole thing together, is what sets the pre-tension. But yeah, I've got another one over here that I took apart. I'll show you that. Trying to thread my chair in under this table without running into it. Okay, if we look at all these parts here, we have a stack of these wave washers, and you can see these things are pretty filthy just from all the use. I cleaned up a few of them here, but they are a stainless steel material and just a sort of a thin spring washer that's pressed into a wave pattern. Then we have a ring right here, and the O-ring goes into this. You can see on this one that the O-ring has started to get a little bit chewed up. But that just provides a little bit of stabilization for everything that rotates inside here. But obviously, when these start getting messed up, they're not gonna prevent flutter like they did when they were new. So we've got this piece here, and all of these little spring washers stack onto this. And they have a little bit of clearance. Like, they will move around a little bit. They're not like a press fit or anything like that. And they're actually a tiny bit wider than the outside of this whole assembly. So those all stack on there. Then this piece here with the O-ring goes on. And when all the springs are stacked in here, this basically sits on top and clamps them down. Then we have this piece here, which is what friction fits everything together. This sits on top of the O-ring holder, and as you can see, once again, there's a little bit of movement there. And then that presses onto this. I have to use a vise or something like that to get it back on. But basically, this presses on and locks the top and bottom half together. And then where the O-ring is, now, all the springs aren't in here, so this is a bit exaggerated, but this part can spin. And that's what grabs onto the outside of the channel where that castor stem goes through and helps prevent the fluttering. If we look really close at the part, you can see the part number there. It's 330974, or is that, yeah, 330974-D, and then it says 12 PCS. And that is referring to the number of wave washers that are in there. So permobil used to have a version of this that had more tension in it. It said 13 PCS on it and had a different part number. But for whatever reason, they have stopped making that. And the idea was that the 12-piece one would go on the 3 Series chairs, and the 13-piece ones would go on the 5 Series chairs. Two reasons. The 5 Series chairs have slightly heavier and larger castor wheels, so there's more mass flying around. And also they go faster. The faster you go, the more mass there is, the more we're going to get that castor flutter going on. But the 12-piece version isn't always adequate for even the 3 Series chairs with normal tires, let alone the 5 Series that go faster with the bigger tires. So I don't know why they stopped making these, but yeah, these are basically what we were trying to locate today. And well, we've ordered some stuff on Amazon. That's not going to be here till Friday, but in the meanwhile, at least you can kind of see how this whole system works. And I've got to clean all the carcinogens off my fingers. And I say carcinogen kind of tongue-in-cheek as a joke, but actually it's not good to get any sort of petroleum-based oil products on your skin. I know a lot of people work on cars without gloves and things like that. In my particular case, my body tends to absorb a lot of heavy metals and petroleum stuff and all that. So I really should be wearing gloves for this, and you probably should as well. Like engine oil, for example, once you put it into your engine, or when it's brand new, it's just oil. But after your engine has been run and that oil gets, filled with hydrocarbons and all kinds of other debris, it technically becomes a hazardous material. So anyways, just food for thought there. Gross. Now, the whole idea of this video today is just basically showing the project and what my plans are and how to fix it, and trying to locate these things. And once again, I never would have thought to look for electric motor. They're kind of using them as a thrust bearing or a preload bearing. But once again, it comes down to asking people that know what they're doing, know their industry well, and know other people that are kind of a little bit cross-linked in the Venn diagram with what they do. Yeah. So it'll be Friday before anything else appears, and I guess we wait till then. Oh, also, just remembered, I was talking about the Stretto and making the eye-level lockout bypass kits. I'm waiting on some parts to be delivered. I got part of the stuff I need as far as electrical connectors go, but we are still very much going to be doing that. It'll be probably another week and a half before the rest of those parts arrive. And we're basically gonna make a kit for that Stretto there that, in theory, you can buy. And you'll be able to bypass the speed inhibitor on your, I was gonna say Edge 3 Stretto, but it should cross over a bunch of different models. Anyways, once I get those parts, we will definitely talk about that as well. This is one of those projects that's been on my list or kind of in the back of my mind for a while. And during the live stream last week, someone brought it up and I got to thinking, wait a minute, maybe I have a chair in here that has those clutches. Obviously the one I'm sitting in has them, but I can't exactly take those out and have the chair offline while I'm figuring all this out. So luckily the 2018 M3 happened to have those. And once I took it apart and figured out what was going on, I got real excited about it. There will be a completely separate video about how to modify these, and the ultimate plan is going to be selling some sort of kit or retrofit or something like that that you can buy and modify your chair with. Because I know this is a huge problem. And once again, I have absolutely no idea why Permobil refuses to do anything about it. Now, yes, they could snap their fingers, start selling these parts, and, well, whatever. Ideally, that would be good, I guess, but in the meanwhile, before that happens, I guess they're still having supply chain issues or other stuff going on, and even getting like the ICS seating switches is still a thing. So this will be a stopgap. What I'm trying to figure out, though, is the best way to go about this. Once we find those washers, and I figure out that they do work and get that all sorted out and everything, how am I going to sell them? The problem is I could sell just the washers and mail those out, but you need some specific tools to do this, and I was thinking it would be cool if I could buy some of those clutches, modify them, and sell them as drop-in units with detailed instructions on how to do that. Only problem is I'm waiting to hear back from some people about how much those cost. If they're 30 to 50 bucks or more each, that's going to be at least $100 per chair, and then I've got to modify them, and then do I charge a core charge so that people send their old ones back? Or, I don't know, there's just a whole bunch of things trying to figure this out. So it is an ongoing project. I'm just kind of documenting it in the meanwhile. So if you are kind of the technical mindset or want to attempt to, modify stuff on your own, you can. Now, I don't think this is going to affect warranties or anything like that. It's a design defect. Like that's let's be honest, that's what it is. So anyways, I'm just documenting this as we go, and as I find more stuff, there will be more videos. But once we figure everything out, I will publish all of this. I'll put it on the website. There'll be another video showing how to do everything, because I keep thinking of things. The other thing I was thinking too is if I sold just the washers, I could make a little puller kit out of like some bolts or other specific hardware that are pretty inexpensive from the hardware store, and maybe ship those out with it. So a lot of factors here. I'm not even designing a new product. We're just trying to figure out logistics of how to make this work, and people can get their chairs taken care of for hopefully under $100. I mean, anyways, I'm sure all that makes sense. But anyhow, there's where we're at for now. I'm gonna wait for those parts to arrive on Friday. I'm gonna see if those even work. But now that I know the appropriate search terms and what to look for, it opens up a lot more options for, where to get parts and source things and stuff like that. So anyways, enough babbling from me. This is already Wednesday, so I will see you tomorrow on the live stream. And I don't know if I'm going to be streaming here or in the bus, but we can talk about more of this tomorrow and whatnot. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been, what's Louis Rossman say? Hopefully you learned something. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow on the live stream, if not in a future video. Thanks for watching.